Many blessings, my loves, my beautiful star family. My name is Rebecca, and this is my full moon report for Pillars of the Moon. So, welcome everyone. I'm so glad to have you with me today. I'm recording this video for the full moon, which will be tomorrow, which will be the 3rd. So, today I'm recording this on the 2nd of July. And so, yeah, so this full moon that's coming, it's really, really a lot to do with our mind. The sun is in Gemini and it's conjunct Mercury as well at the time of this full moon. So Neptune has also gone retrograde, so there's lots to do with like illusions and dreams and our mind maybe feeling blurry and foggy and that things could be quite confusing at the moment for us. So there's lots and lots that I want to go into. So I'm going to jump into the live sky because that's a good place to start. That always serves us well, doesn't it? So I'm going to share a screen with you all. So I'm going to come up into Stellarium Web, which is an online program that all of you can use to look at the live sky and see what's going on. So if you look at, this is the sky right now. So the astrology that I use is, the easiest way that I can describe it is the live sky as it really is. And, Western astrology doesn't match the live sky. So, when I look up in the night sky for myself with my own eyes, I can quite often see certain planets and certain stars around the planets. Like last night, for example, the moon was really close to Antares, Royal Star of the West, and I could actually see Antares, so that's how I really look and see where things really are, so that's the only type of astrology that I use. That's the study of the stars and the planets, which is astrology, right? So I've had people say, oh, Rebecca's type of astrology is so different, but it's just the study of the stars, and that's all I do is I look into the sky, I study the stars and the planets and their actual positions, just like astronomers do, and to me, astrology and astronomy are one, so this is why, I'm really, really sharing these visions and these lenses that I see, because it's, to me, it's so clear, like really this is the way for me. So yeah, and then I share with you, seeing if you resonate too, and seeing how you're feeling with all the energies, and tune in to how it really feels. So live sky right now. Wow, this is exciting. As I'm recording this video, this is Sunday, the 2nd of July. The moon is just come into Sagittarius and it's connected to the Galactic Centre. So as I am literally speaking, the waxing moon is moving through the Galactic Centre. I'm just like so excited by that. The exact time that my partner is able to take my children to the park is the exact time that I'm able to record this video, when the moon is aligned with the Galactic Centre. The Galactic Centre, like I always remember, it's kind of like at the end of the Archer's arrow, but I think it's like free Sagittarius. It's around here, it is at this point, and it's the center of our Milky Way galaxy, and it's a black hole. I see it as like a big yoni that spits out stars and sucks things in, it's a portal. So I'm really connecting to that portal right now as I'm putting out this video for you all for the full moon, to really tune into this energy of the full moon and the Galactic Centre energy, which is also known as the Golden Gate of the Gods as well. So wow, it's such a powerful full moon that this is bringing up for us in this cycle. So I think there's lots coming through around seeing the bigger picture. The Sagittarian energy is very expansive. We could be looking at long range visions, things that are going to be happening over long periods of time of our evolution. And the Sagittarian energy is wanting us to expand our mind, you know, and the Sun being next to Mercury at the moment, you know, we could be really in this mind clutter, fogginess with Neptune going retrograde, and it's like, whoa, what, you know, we really need to, like, I feel like with all this energy is to really look at our spiritual practices and the things that are serving us to really help us to declutter our mind and really recenter into the spiritual expansiveness that is available to us for this full moon. You know, so for those of you who have got any planets in Sagittarius or any kind of planets in Gemini, you know, you'll be feeling these energies really strongly. And, you know, you may be feeling with the Mercury conjunct the Sun, you know, there's lots of talking, lots of sharing, lots of thinking, lots of ideas, can be very inventive. I see the Sagittarius and Gemini energies, like together they are like the networkers and the sharers of information and knowledge that, you know, they make great teachers, but they also make great musicians as well, you know, because there's a real kind of the Sagittarian energy, you know, can be very creative, ruled by Jupiter. You know, Jupiter is in Aries at the moment, or Cetus, and so there's a real kind of fiery, kind of watery energy there, very creative. And then obviously Venus and Leo are Venus and Mars are over in Leo. But I'll jump into the chart a bit more later. But I'm just going to move forward into the time of the full moon. I'm going to try not to digress too much on this video, because I know with all the Mercury Gemini energy, I could be chatting all afternoon to you all. I'm going to try not to do that. So let 12:38. So the full moon is on the 3rd of the 7th at 12:38, and that's the GMT time zone, and that's the afternoon, you know, so Monday afternoon for us in the UK. We're going back now, so 12:38. I'm just making sure I've got the exact time for you all on the screen here. Just going to zoom out. So we can see at the time of the full moon, this is the exact time of the full moon here, we have our moon in Sagittarius. So this is the live sky. This is not Western astrology. I think Western astrology is having it over in Capricorn right now. But, you know, if you look it up on Stellarium Web, on any kind of sky app, astronomy app, you will see the actual position of the full moon is in Sadgie, which is great, really great. So this area here of the sky, you know, is really connected to the hand of the archer. So when you think about that as like a symbolic gesture, like the hand of the archer is like, it's the hand that's directing, it's directing our, it's the direction of our creation, the direction of where we're shooting our arrows, you know. So this is a really powerful full moon for that kind of like directing, like our energy, directing our expansiveness into this long range vision, you know. And it's gonna, things are gonna take time, you know, but I feel like this energy of the archer, it's like really like bringing our attention to the hand or the direction that we're shooting our energy in, you know. And so as well, it's kind of like it brings up a lot for me around choice and truth, you know, because Sagittarius is connected to spiritual truth, spiritual knowledge, you know. And so there could be this feeling around this time of really choosing our truths, choosing, you know, really realigning with what is true for me, you know, what is real for me, what, you know, and what, and then moving our arrow accordingly, you know. So we may be feeling some shifts in our whole being around, you know, what we're really focusing on, focusing our attention, focusing our mind on, you know. So this energy is like calling us to redirect our attention to our deepest truth, you know, that's really like in our integrity. And then also with the Sagittarian energy being connected to boundaries, you know, we could be feeling, wow, oh my goodness, so that big kind of plane is going over the, oh my goodness, like a rocket. It's just gone over the house. That's a Sagittarian energy, isn't it? It's just like, we've got to take off. We've got to get out of here. Woo, off we go. So see, now my mind is blown and I have no idea what I was just saying before. Boundaries. Yeah. So we could be feeling stuff's coming up for us around our boundaries, you know. The full moon is like the fullness of the cycle. It's the full point. It's the high point. It's the, wow, you know, everything's been building up to this, you know. So after the full moon, things start to wane away and the energy decreases and we start to return back to the womb of the new moon. So this high point, it's like everything has been building up to this moment, you know, up to this full moon. And we may be feeling like an intensity and like an overload of information, especially from Gemini energy and the Mercury energy. So many ideas, so many visions. We could be feeling this real expansiveness in our whole being and not quite knowing what to do with it all. I've certainly been feeling that in myself, or feeling like there's just so much coming in, but it feels like it's going to take time, you know. So this is, you know, one of the greatest practices here is with all these opportunities and with all this expansiveness and all these ideas, the Sagittarian energy is really great at helping us to keep the faith that things will land, keep the faith in these visions, you know. And actually, so many of us collectively are having really big visions now of the future and visions of our dreams and really wanting to expand into that, you know. And what I've been learning from Jupiter, from my Jupiter return, you know, is that really we can have faith and that anything actually is possible when we ask for what we need, when we have the courage to step into our leadership, Mars and Venus in Leo, to really step into our spiritual empowerment. You know, so I feel like what this full moon is about really stepping into our empowerment, our spiritual strength, and directing our energy towards our goals and what it is that we want to achieve in this life. And could feel so expansive, you know, but it really is a great opportunity, this full moon, to really look at the bigger picture, really dream big, you know, and reflect on our dreams. Neptune going retrograde in Pisces. Reflect on all of our dreams and visions. We're going back to, maybe it was a vision that we had years ago, you know, and then suddenly we remember it and we're like, oh, yes, I had a dream. What was that dream you might have dropped, you know? And maybe it's time to pick that dream up and to start with all these energies, really directing those arrows, those things that we really dream of having in our life. And we are worthy of it. We are so worthy of it, you know. And this is part of it too, you know. It's really the Jupiter energy and the Sagittarius energy. It's like we have to feel like we're worth it before it can come, you know. So that is also a journey of valuing ourselves and valuing our power and valuing our strength and our leadership to really expand into the full expression of who we really are. So yeah, interesting. This star here, Nunki, is connected to Enki, which is connected to the god of the sea. You know, so in certain stories, you know, that this star here, or this area of the sky, is connected to, oh, is it the voice of the ocean? And, you know, this part of the sky beyond Sagittarius, you know, is connected to the water or the ocean or the sea. You know, Capricornus has got a fin, you know, and then we've got Delphinus, and we've got Pisces Australis, and we've got Aquarius, and we've got all the watery kind of things. So this area is actually beyond Sagittarius, You know, Sagittarius is really a gate into waters, into, you know, the other realms. So the Galactic Centre, but also being a portal or a gate into those realms, you know. So when we've got a full moon at this place, you know, we could be feeling very, very connected to the cosmos, connected to spirit, connected to our guides, connected to our soul. And, you know, we could be feeling that we could be dreaming a lot at the moment. And what are our dreams telling us? Like our inner worlds, you know. So this could be a really great time for doing, like, yeah, dream reflecting, lucid dream practices. Really great time for getting into our spiritual practices, whether it's meditation or breath work or shaking or yoga, whatever it is, you know, but some kind of practice that really can help us to quiet our mind, you know, and come back into our heart and our feelings and then it kind of creates this open channel for our soul to come in. You know, if we can quiet the mind for long enough, we can really feel who we really are. So yeah, wanted to just share as well that if you look here, the full moon is here, and we go all the way up, we find ourselves at Vega. Vega is in the constellation Lyra, Lyra being type of heart. So, and then I was looking up here into Vega, you know, and actually the ancient Egyptians associated the pole star Vega, or which they called Vega, as connected to the deity Mart, the goddess with wings of the sacred vulture who guided souls from this life to the next. You know, so there's something as well, and Mart is about truth and justice, balance, the order of the cosmos, you know. So and so we could be feeling, you know, like this is really about our karmic destiny right now, you know. And so there could be a real like chance at this full moon to really like find our creative genius. Like Gemini can be a real inventive genius. My son is a Gemini and he's 4 years old nearly, and he loves music already. Isn't that amazing? You know, so like there's a real, this is a great time for productivity with music and creativity, all things artistic, you know, because the Venus and Mars energy together as well. Let's just go over to Leo. I want to show you. You can see here, this is the constellation Leo. Venus and Mars are together, and there's Pallas Athena here as well. You know, so Pallas is also about justice and truth and balance and integrity, you know. So, and the Venus and Mars energy together, this is really like a balancing of the masculine and feminine inside of us, and the fire and the water. But Venus and Mars together in Leo, it really is such a powerful energy of leadership and empowerment, you know. But with the Sagittarian Gemini energy, it's about empowerment through knowledge, empowerment through wisdom, empowerment through expanding to see the bigger picture, to zoom out and be like the eagle, you know, looking down over it all and really see, you know, from like zooming out, the unfolding of all things and how everything is happening as it needs to, you know. And so there is a bigger picture, you know, and this is like the energy of this full moon. There's a bigger picture here that if we could just see, you know, that there is so much more than what we might realize that's happening right now. So the Mars and Venus energy together, it feels like union. And Venus is like, she's right at the crown of her journey. She's like, she'll be going retrograde in the next lunar cycle, you know. So right now she's at her crown. And so it feels like lots to do with our royalty and regal power and sovereignty and, yeah, leadership, you know. So the thing is, like, there's like so much that could be coming up for us and around fairness, around leadership, justice, you know, so they may be coming up with things in, you know, our systems and structures and kind of places of power, you know, that we might be feeling that, you know, places that are leading us that maybe not be fair or just, you know, so there could be lots of intense, heavy feelings around that too, you know. So but for me, like, I always call it back to myself, and I do the work within, you know, and look at all of the parts of me that are triggered the most, you know, and the things that trigger me the most is normally where I need to set more boundaries, you know, and so that is also connected to the Sagittarian energy, right? And the boundaries and the truth and speaking our truth. You know, we may be feeling as well around this time of this full moon that there's lots of people speaking about their truths or speaking about injustice or fairness or, you know, the world's leaders, you know, and there could be lots of different stories and lots of drama and lots of people talking and talking and talking, you know, so just to really be aware of that and how that can affect our energy, you know, when we're doing these things. And so, yeah, the Venus energy with Mars really connected to leadership, really connected to empowerment, but also really creative. You know, she wants to get on the stage and she wants to dance, she wants to be seen, you know, she wants to be in charge. I could be the leader of this country. Maybe you'll be having feelings like that. I could do a better job, you know, like it could be like that kind of like, you know. But then Venus also can, Leo can also be a show off or be too egotistical or in their self, you know, that they can forget to be for the collective, you know. So yeah. So yeah, so the Vega, let's go back to Vega. I wanted to just quickly go back over to that star and just look at the alignment with the full moon with Vega. So Vega is one of the Bohemian stars as well, which is the 15 fixed stars of the alchemists. I really love this star. I'm not sure what it is. There's something about me. I just love this star. I feel like I've got an affinity to the harp, and I've always wanted to play the harp. So this could be a really nice time, you know, with these energies to start a musical thing or start a creative thing that we've wanted to do. Great time for writing, for poetry, for singing, for writing songs, if you're into that kind of thing. Even if you're wanting to write like a book, just start. But like I said, like stay attached to the longer range vision. Doesn't have to be done. Rome wasn't built in a day, you know. I have to think of it that way. We've just got to take steps forwards. Eventually we'll get there, you know. So I'm going to go over to the full moon chart. So I've done some squiggles on here already for you all. Yeah, so you can see the moon is down in here, 14 degrees of Sagittarius. Pluto is also in Sagittarius. He's retrograde. You know, so for us in the UK, you know, the housing situation could be having a lot coming up to do with our homes this full moon. But if you're in a different part of the world, obviously your house system will change and shift as it does. So yeah, what did I want to share about the chart? So you can see we've got Mercury and the Sun together, and Mercury is opposing the full moon next to the Sun, with Juno there as well. Juno connected to our commitments and our marriages, you know, so there could be potential for, you know, with all this fiery energy as well, because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and he is in trine to the full moon, you know, so there's a real fiery kind of energy around this full moon, and with all the air of Gemini, you know, fire and air is like woof, there could be fireworks going off, and that might be nice fireworks, you know, like connecting Venus and Mars, kind of Leo, oh, more fire, Leo fire. You know, there could be like intimacy fireworks, or there could be like angry fireworks. Yeah, fire and air kind of together really makes me feel of, yeah, the fireworks, but it's also spreading that you know, because the wind and the fire, it spreads, you know, so we also have at the time of this full moon the capacity to spread our ideas and networks vastly, you know, so the fire is like our creative energy, and the air is the movement of spreading and changing, and like the wind, you know, they shift things and they move things and they express things. And so the winds bring change, you know, so the air element has that element of change. And you know, so the fire of the Sagittarian energy, that creativity, you know, we have a chance to really expand our mind, to expand our perspective and our thoughts, and to move into like a completely, like, yeah, a bigger picture of where we are right now, you know. So Neptune has just started to go retrograde in Pisces over here. And so when Neptune stations to go retrograde is still in the sky, I really felt that. My Neptune is in Sagittarius, so right by this full moon, actually. So I felt quite like dizzy. I felt confused. Like yesterday and the day before, I was like, what's happening? I felt really foggy, a bit confused. Yeah. So that could, you know, if you, the last few days you've been feeling a bit like that, that could be part of Neptune's influence. But with Neptune going backwards now as well in Pisces, you know, it's like, yeah, going back to the dream, like I said earlier. What are our dreams? Because it all begins with that intention, right? With that dream. And a dream is like an intention. I remember when I left New Zealand, I was living in New Zealand and I had a dream. You know, I had a dream that I had to leave. And I felt that there was love at the other side of the ocean, and I landed on the shores of England, and sure enough, my beloved is here, you know, in Avalon. I just had a dream that I had to go to Avalon, and I had a vision that I would meet someone here and I would have his children and we would have a house together, and all of those things came true. But it started with the dream, you know, as it does. Everything begins in that dream. So Neptune going backwards is like going back into our dreams, into our deepest yearnings and desires. Venus and Mars in Leo for love and connection and artistic, you know, expression. And like when we're creating things, you know, what are we creating? And so, you know, we're going back to our dreams. We want to create our dreams. You know, we want to be living in our dreams, but it starts with remembering our dreams, you know? So yeah, I feel like it's really great time to be, yeah, asking for messages in our dreams. I have this practice before I go to bed. I use my Artemisia plants, which gives us really great visions. And I ask for wisdom and messages in my dreams. And I've been getting some really profound things coming in, you know? And so, yeah, on the build up to this full moon, and on this full moon, it could be this really full kind of time of, yeah, lots of ideas, lots of expansion, lots of coming together in community and connecting, circulating ideas, circulating the bigger vision, really networking. And it's a time of really, yeah, coming into our leadership and coming into our, like, our soul mission even, you know. So the aspect that is more challenging, that has been challenging for a while, is the Pluto T-squaring the nodes and making the Grand Cross aspect with the Black Moon Lilith. So Black Moon Lilith has been going between Cancer and Leo, you know, so that for me, it brings up lots of kind of stuff around codependency, abandonment, like fear of like losing something, or being rejected. And then also with the Leo energy, it could be like a fear of our power, or a fear of being seen in our power. It could be to do with shame, you know, of being like, imagine like you got up on the stage. This is how I imagine like the Lilith energy working with Leo. It's like she gets up on the stage and she starts singing her song and everyone laughs, you know. And then so there's like this fear of like, if I do that, if I become my true power and beauty and all of that, then I'm going to get burnt at the stake or whatever, you know. So like a fear of being bold and fear of being beautiful and a fear of being creative and seen in all of our light, you know. So beautiful energy, you know, for this kind of full moon to be leaning into those edges, you know. And I think this grand cross, which is happening with Pluto in the nose, and Lilith has been, yeah, joining in with that, you know. It's kind of like, wow, it's such a deep transformation of where we've been and where we're going. And in Sagittarius, you know, where Pluto is, the last degree of Sagittarius, it's like, wow, it's our deepest spiritual beliefs. It's the beliefs of our soul and who we are and where we come from. It's like the deepest wisdom of the cosmos. That's where Pluto is right now. I feel like he's at that place of mastering the cosmos. It's the alchemist of the cosmos. It's the wizard. It's the magician. It's like, wow, harnessing all the elements. And yeah, so I've been really watching the North Node as well. So the North Node at the moment is at 2 degrees Aries and connected to the head of Cetus, the whale. And so, yeah, there's the place between Aries and Pisces. I always draw this really bad Vesica Pisces, but you can see what I'm saying. So that's the water and the fire, which is the alchemy of creation, you know, and the fire and the water, the sun and the rain create rainbows, and everything comes from rainbows, right? It's the light. It's the rainbow bridge of creation, you know. So the North Node is right here. And there's a star that I mentioned, which is the knot of the Pisces constellation, Aureshka. I hope that's the right way of pronouncing it, because I said it wrong in my new moon video. Not wrong, but you know, I got mixed up because I was talking about the head of the serpent, and Neptune is working me at the minute, I think. Yeah, so this star, Aureshka, which is the cord which joins us to spirit, which is a star, which is, you know, connected to, you know, heaven and earth, our spirit and our body. You know, this star is where the North Node is coming closer and closer to. And it's like, wow, no, I really feel like what my instinct, my intuition is around, you know, this North Node moving. It's like when it really aligns with Aureshka, there will be like this great healing of the split, you know, the split between heaven and earth, and that actually like the world will be merging. And it's just some downloads and dreams that I've been having around it, you know. And it's like, okay, so that's where we're going. That's the head of the dragon, you know. But our dragons need to be in union, you know. We have the white and we have the black dragon. We have the yin and the yang, and where we need to be moving towards is to be in complete balance and harmony with both our dragons, you know, because we need both. We need the sun and we need the rain. We need the light and we need the dark. And actually, they are one in the same. And this is what I'm really journeying with now, that actually I'm finding from the union that I'm in with my beloved, that it's like sometimes I feel like we're complete opposite. You know, we can feel like that with the Pluto and Lilith energy now, who are opposing each other, you know. We feel like we're like completely opposite. It's like, I'm this and you're that. But actually, there's like something in that opposite that enables us to come into wholeness, because without knowing the opposite, we can't know that we're separate, if that makes sense. So there's like this balancing happening from seeing our opposite, and then like we can see like where we can find wholeness by like what we're projecting into the other is parts of us that we need to reclaim, you know. So it's like, wow. And this is the gift of being in union, you know, which we may be finding now with the Mars and Venus energy together, that there's a real chance, like we may be feeling soul partners coming into our lives, and we may be feeling unions happening. And that begins with ourselves, you know. To come into union in ourselves is like the beginning of then reflecting it in another, you know. So yeah, it's beautiful. So yeah, I feel like that was a lot. Hold on, let me just take a few breaths. Yeah, so the Jupiter energy is in trine to the full moon. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So there's a real spiritual expansive opportunity. And you know, the Jupiter Sagittarius energy can bring a lot of optimism, it can bring a lot of faith, you know. So really like tapping into that and really looking at our bigger visions is definitely what will be serving us this full moon. Also, you know, I think what we really can be watching out for as well is like the drama and the gossip and the backstabbing of like the kind of Mercury opposing the full moon. You know, we could be feeling like lots of kind of verbal shadows that may be exposing or expressing. So we may be seeing that as well in like the collective. So moving over to our last quarter moon in Pisces, I really wanted to share just a little bit about this before I logged off. But so yeah, the last quarter moon will be on the 10th of July at 2:47 in the morning, and it's conjunct Chiron in Pisces. So taking into account that I said Neptune is going retrograde in Pisces, you know, so these energies are really connected, you know. And I feel like this last quarter moon, you know, could be a really deep and healing time. We might be feeling quite sensitive, you know, from things that might have come up around the full moon that we're processing. So after the full moon, which is happening, you know, around about here, we're going to be going over Pluto. We're going to be going over Saturn, and the moon's going to be going over Neptune, you know. So it's quite a journey of returning, if you think of it that way. It's like there's lots that we'll be meeting with, lots of energies that we'll be meeting with on our journey home on our last quarter moon, you know. So the fullness of the cycle comes at the full moon, Sagittarius, boom. And then there's a hit from Pluto, and then there's a hit from Saturn, there's a hit from, you know, and they're all retrograde as well, you know, so they're all in reflect mode, they're all in going back mode. So there's like so much reflection, and we could be feeling that we're going backwards, that we've got all these great visions and great goals, and we can see this bigger picture, but we feel like we're going nowhere because we've got so much like shit to sift through or so much mess and chaos to clear up, you know. So yeah, we could be feeling like by the time we get to the last quarter moon on the 10th of July, like we could be feeling perhaps overwhelmed by our emotions and overwhelmed by, you know, the things to do to get to where we want to be, you know. So if that, you know, could be quite a difficult one. And also I noticed as well that the black moon Lilith will be conjunct Mercury in Gemini. So wow, she's gone all the way back to Gemini just for the last quarter moon. Maybe she's got something to say, you know, if she's meeting up with Mercury, you know, I think that there might be something that needs to be shared. And that is in part of this grand cross aspect that you can see with Pluto and the nodes, you know. And so yeah, she is joining, you know, that kind of, there could be some real things that need to be said, I think, around that last quarter moon time, You know, maybe some stuff has come up at the full moon, some stuff has been illuminated, and then we can really see some things that maybe we're not particularly happy with, you know. So it feels like by the time we get to the last quarter moon, there could be a real kind of emotional release. And if that happens, yeah, welcome it. The tears are really important to release them. And also at the time of the last quarter moon, Venus, Mars, and Pallas, who are in Leo, are opposite Saturn as well in Aquarius. So it feels like there's like a real kind of in the face, like face off between like this inner union that we feel in ourselves and some kind of authority figure, or like a father figure, or like some kind of like patriarchal maybe kind of like mentality, or like some kind of dynamic that's happening in our relationship where like somebody has got more kind of authority or restrictions on us, or you know what I mean. So there's it feels like the last quarter moon is going to be a really healing and deep time, so just like give ourselves space for that, you know. So if we do feel lots of stuff coming up for us, you know, maybe there will be spiritual practices, you know, which can really help us come into this clearing space for the new to come in, you know. So clearing space is, you know, our surroundings might need a sorting, and our mind might need decluttering, you know. So, and there's different ways of doing that, you know. I've got lots of practices that I love to do where I'm like imagining that my left ear is going over to my left shoulder, and I'm gathering all my thoughts with the inhale, and then exhale, releasing them down my left ear like a fountain into my heart. So then bringing my awareness from my mind into my heart, and it's like I'm sending all my thoughts into love through my breath and through my attention. If I find I'm really like in my mind, especially at night when I'm trying to sleep, that's really helpful for me. So yeah, little things like that can be really serving for us around the end of this cycle, you know, as we might be feeling more emotional by this cycle and all of the things that it's brought up for us. The next new moon will be in Gemini, which will be on the 17th of July. Oh, yay. 24 degrees of Gemini. So I'm not going to jump into that chart just yet because that's a whole other story. But yeah. So yeah, making space this cycle. Making space with the Sagittarian energy, you know, to really clear away all that we don't need so we can make space for these new ideas to come in, because the Gemini energy can be really like revolutionary, inventive, genius, you know, so really intelligent energy. So yeah, taking all that into account, I'm sending you so much love. Oh my goodness, I hope this full moon is like really expansive, and yeah, just reminding us all to really connect to our faith and what we believe in, and yeah, have the courage to get creative, get artistic, and just really express ourselves, because that could be real healing medicine for us at this time. So yeah, sending you all full moon love, and I shall see you in a couple of weeks. Blessed be.